Happy late Saturday night, early Sunday morning for some of you guys. I'm William, live from the Sci-Fi Center, and this is the Sci-Fi Center live overnight, our weekly Saturday night conversation about things that range from horror, science fiction, anything to do with capes and flying superhumans, mermen, whatever you guys want to talk about, and maybe some wrestling in there. Tonight we have some specific topics, but we're going to be all over the place. And then I may drop the link into the chat if we have enough time and considering the flow of the show and talk to some of you all directly. Tonight's show and all the shows this week and next week are brought to you by our sponsor. Come on, bring up. Hold on. Let me. Back in here, and then we'll read the little promo. There we go. Top Gun Maverick, brought to you from Paramount Pictures, now on Blu-ray and DVD now. Follow the adventures of Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell as he battles his past demons while he has to lead and train a group of Top Gun recruits on the most dangerous mission of any of their careers. Top Gun Maverick is on Blu-ray and DVD now, and thank you for everybody who participated in our promotion last week. You guys, Paramount will be sending you, if you got an email from me, you know who you are. Paramount will be sending you directly from them your copy of Top Gun Maverick and the digital combo copy that comes with it. So enjoy that one. So there we go. Top Gun Maverick was great. Once again, another guy pushing 60 to look like that and be able to do all those G's. It's not fair, but it is what it is. It was a great movie. It's the highest grossing movie of the year. Wakanda Forever may challenge that. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But right now, Top Gun Maverick is the top dog as far as top grossing films. And then you got Avatar coming out too. So some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight is, if you saw in the thumbnail, we're going to be going over some comics. Haven't done that in a couple of weeks because we've had a lot of stuff going on, a lot of breaking news and things like that. But at the heart of me, I am a sci-fi geek, but I'm also a comic book geek. That's why I got into the business. And one of the things that we're going to be going a little bit in depth with is I'm a little bit behind on this, but it's my chance to read it. It is, it is DC Black Label, Batman and the Joker, The Deadly Duel. Mark Silvestri did this. And Mark Silvestri, I grew up reading Mark Silvestri's run on X-Men. Mark Silvestri did a run on X-Men that lasted from 221 all the way up to I think just before Jim Lee took over, and Blaxploitation and that particular run. Here's a variant cover with the Joker on it. It's intense. We're going to open it up towards the end of the show. We're going to flip through some of the pages. I tried to pull it up on DC Infinite, but it's not on there because I hate having to show you guys pages like this by putting it up against the camera or putting a camera down on it. I'd rather they had it on digital so that I could flip through the pages with you guys, but we'll make do. And then a series that I've been looking forward to since the last series. This is a brand new Secret Invasion series that they started up. It's basically a prelude to that's Namor. We'll talk about him too. He's in the thumbnail. Secret Invasion variant cover. It's basically leading up to the Secret Invasion show that's going to be on Disney Plus. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle this and how closely it relates to the original Secret Invasion that happened back in 2006. Secret Invasion, and we're going to do a show on this when I got to remind myself that me and Dave, we got to get together and do a show on the original comic book version of Secret Invasion and how it will relate to the brand new one that's coming out. For me, as far as Disney Plus and Marvel Cinematic Universe, Secret Invasion is my most anticipated project coming forward, more so than Fantastic Four, X-Men, any of the other stuff that they're coming out. The Secret Invasion was my favorite Marvel comic storyline during a time when they just weren't putting out a lot of good stuff, and that was the mid-2000s. So let me go ahead and say hi to the chat before we jump into any of our topics. All right, let's see. Okay, I got a new pop-up chat window. We're going to see how that works. Hey Vince, how you doing? You got my message. I got your name and everything. Yep, it's been sent to Paramount. You were one of my winners. So, all right, Daryl Taylor saw Wakanda Forever tonight. Loved it. Hope to get a Namor. So, oh yes, we definitely. Let me move this forward because this thing is shaking. We definitely need a Namor. A Namor, either a Namor solo movie or more, very least, more of him. Um, I love everything about that character. I love the way he looked. I love the way he flew in the comics. Namor flies and he's matching Mach speeds on them little itty bitty wings, which is completely ridiculous. I mean, in the power, they say he's up there racing jets, and I'm like, what? And I always thought as a kid, and we'll go over this tomorrow because tomorrow we're going to do a deep dive into Wakanda Forever, and we're going to do some of the character comparisons between Namor in the comics and Namor in the movies, and see what you know. I think that the one in the movies is superior, but I always thought growing up as a kid that Namor could fly based on just kind of like the way Superman did, and then I didn't know till a little bit later as I grew older that it was as a result of his wings on his feet. And when you read, if you ever picked up a Namor comic, I mean, he's going full blast, like Sonic Boom Blast. I'm like, okay, how powerful are those little wings? In the movie, however, the way he balances and he moves around, kind of like a hummingbird, makes more sense because he's balancing himself on his feet with those wings, and it's more realistic. He's still going pretty fast, but he's doing more hovering and jumping around in the air, and that makes more sense once he got once he grew into what his wings would be, and he would be so skilled on to be able to do that. But as far as like flying and matching like an F 35 or something, that I always thought that was ridiculous. So I thought everything about Namor was handled better in the theatrical presentation than he's been in handled in comics for quite a while. Hey, Film Goblin, what's going on, man? I'm going to see if I can get you in tonight for a couple of minutes. This might be a little bit shorter stream because I got a lot going on after this show, believe it or not. So I'm going to try to get you guys in because I know I promised you guys you would get some time in on the show. Rational Skeptic, they should have recasted T'Challa. This film was trying to do too much, and the film was too long. Yes, it was. That was a 2 hour and 45-minute movie that really needed to be about a 2:10 or 2:15. It was long, and you felt, in my opinion, and we'll go in detail tomorrow on our deep dive spoiler review. You felt those 2 hours and 45 minutes. It was really too long for me, and I don't really complain about the length of the movie. I don't care if you got a 3-4 hour movie. As long as the pace and the action or whatever you're giving me is going at a consistent enough pace. I've sat in 3-hour movies where you turn around, and the lights come up, you don't realize that you've been sitting in a 3-hour movie. When I watch The Godfather, I don't feel a 3-hour movie. When I watch Justice League, granted I'm watching it here, or in the office because I didn't see it in theaters. It goes by quickly because it's packed, one thing after another. Some of these movies that come out just don't need to be as long as they are. If you have a story to tell and that's how long it takes, that's great. But they got to be watching this stuff in the weeklies and the dailies before they, put the movie to the editors that maybe this might not be the best idea. And I think Wakanda Forever could have moved a lot faster. I think what made it seem longer is all the grieving. All the grieving was what slowed it down because it brought things to a standstill, and there's a lot of grieving in this movie. So let's see what we're gonna go through here. Yeah, Neymar definitely needs. Hold on, I didn't finish your first comment before I jumped to the other one. It was too long. Neymar wasn't a good fit as an antagonist. Ryan Coogler said he would have left if they had recasted. Here, and I heard about that. I never got a chance to verify that, but as much as talented and as great as Ryan Coogler is, Kevin Feige in Marvel Studios are Kevin Feige in Marvel Studios. They've replaced people before, and it would have been heartbreaking for them to leave on that note. But what I will always say this, and I will never budge from this: the story is paramount. Everything is in support of the story. Everything from the caterer, the cameraman, every single actor that you have on there, including the producer, including the director, every one of those pieces is there to support the story. You do everything so that your story works. When you change your story and start making other things a priority, then your story fails. See, the story is mindless. The story doesn't care about who lived or died in real life. The story is what it is. And you can clearly see in this movie, not just in the pacing, but and I like I said, I said it last night, and I said it during my spoiler-free review, is that there are times when Namor is on the screen and having his moments that definitely needed T'Challa. That definitely needed T'Challa. There were times when the family is together and they're doing their strategy things and everything else, and those scenes definitely needed T'Challa. And you could tell that they didn't execute the story that they had and that they wanted to. They settled for a story that was absent something that they didn't have to be absent. Them not recasting T'Challa was a personal choice. That is not where the story took them, because the story he wrote was already there. Chadwick Boseman had read that script already, and because Coogler didn't even know he was ill. And I hate to be that guy that says, over and over again, I didn't like it just because they didn't agree with what I did. No, I went willingly to the movie wanting to be entertained. But the structure of the movie required and needed not just a Black Panther, it needed the Black Panther. And I think that the Namor's character, be honest with you, suffered a little bit. As great as everything I loved about him was, I thought he could have been 10 steps better if the titular character would have been there. I thought there were scenes that were Namor didn't have anything to counter. Angela Bassett did a great job in trying to do her best on it. She needs to get at least nominated. I don't know who's going to win the Oscar this year. Angela Bassett has to be nominated. I am going to be done with the Oscars. All right. I should have been done with Slumdog Millionaire. I should have been done with The Last Emperor. And, when I was a kid, seeing that movie when everything, I didn't even know it existed until Oscar night. But if Angela Bassett doesn't get nominated, we're going to have a problem. All right. Especially this late in the year where there's really nothing. I haven't seen anything else that really rises to her occasion. She's a rock in this movie. So, yeah, I agree 100% there, Rational. And, yes, Namor needed a solo film. I didn't mind them bringing him in on this way. I mean, I didn't mind because they did it right. They did it great. The only problem I have, like I said, if you're going to bring him into the movie, you're going to bring him into a Black Panther movie, have the Black Panther there to counter him. A lot of times when you have, an anti-hero or a villain there, he feeds off of what the moral values and the stature of what your main hero is. And that main hero should have been T'Challa. I think whoever would have played him just by being on the screen with him would have brought to the surface a better Namor than we got. So that's just me. That is just where I was with the show. Like I said, and I still gave Black Panther: Wakanda Forever a very, very high rating. It's gonna make a crap ton of money. It's gonna make a crap ton of money, and I'm happy for it. Like I said, as a person of color, we don't have a lot. You can count them on one finger. $1 billion potential blockbusters that we have. You can count them on one finger. And that's this IP that we're looking at right now with Wakanda Forever. And I'm glad to see the representation is there more so than it was 20, 30 years ago. Because 30 years ago, you wouldn't have seen an Aquaman that wasn't a blue-eyed, blonde-haired guy. Beach Boy looking guy. You wouldn't have seen that, but because of where we are, we can. And like I said, I'm always out there to support this movie. I don't agree with the decision, but I'm going to support the hell out of Wakanda Forever because, like I said, it's we just don't have a lot, and little black boys and people of color. It is really. It may not be important to the people that have always had representation sometimes, but trust me, when we haven't had any, and you're growing up, and you can connect, especially with all the stereotypes sometimes that surround us, to have a character that blows away every dumb stereotype out there is really nice. It's really a sense of pride. I don't coming from this point of view. All right, Top Gun Maverick is epic. Yeah, Top Gun Maverick is great. Like I said, I wasn't expecting it to make 1 billion. Holy cow! But I really enjoyed the movie. I saw the original in the theater. Yes, I'm old. I love that movie. And I love this movie. And like I said, I just I don't know why it just connected with me. It's a simple movie. If you look at it, it's a simple movie. Old guy comes in, young people think that he's washed up. He shows them all up, and now old guy has to go lead a mission. He's got to deal with his past. It's a cliche thing, but somehow I love that movie, and a lot of other people did. So yeah, Top Gun. Don't know if that's going to win any Oscars, but it'll get some technical Oscar list. So hey, yeah, it was damn good films. How you doing, XL? I saw it in theaters. It was worth the money. Worth its money. Yeah, and like I said, I am not the biggest IMAX guy, but there's a couple movies that when they do come out, you really need to take the time to go see them in IMAX. And Top Gun Maverick is one of them. I wish we had IMAX back in '86 when they hit the theaters. I don't know. I'd have probably joined the Navy instead of the Army. That's how captivating that movie was. They had recruiters out. I remember going to see it because I saw it on a base, and they had recruiters. They had Navy recruiters. And I grew up on an Air Force base, and recruiters are out there signing fools up, man. And that's the only military movie and I've seen them all. That's the only military movie that I've ever seen in the theaters where they had the recruiters, because Full Metal Jacket, nobody wanted to sign up for the Marines after that. Saving Private Ryan, nope. But Top Gun, they made it sexy, they made it flashy, and dude, there's a lot of pilots. I knew some pilots that got wings because of that. So all right, Top Gun Maverick, every military movie. All right, so let's see. Oh, by the way, guys, hold on. I'm going to go turn this. I'm going to go away for a second. I don't have a co-pilot tonight, so I got to go turn this heater down because apparently I'm roasting. Hold on for a second. I'll be right back. Whew, that heater worked better than it ever has. All right, so start cam again. Yeah, so Top Gun Maverick's good, but yeah, I'm gonna go on a small fast food rant. Now, if you guys follow me on any of my social media, and if you were here during our Black Panther Wakanda Forever spoiler-free review, I'm down for a good burger, right? You've seen the burger. I had the fat burger. I'm going to bring it up here again. I on Tuesday night I ate a burger that was 1.5 pounds of just pure happiness and joy, right? So last night, Vegas is no longer what it is. Not everything's open 24 hours like it was when I first got here, and so I can't always go out to casino or go to a restaurant because they all close at 11. Like, good grief. And so every now and then I have to settle for fast food. Now, for the most part, Burger King has filled the need. It's filled the need, and it just does it. I mean, it's not great. It's not my favorite, but when it's the only thing open, I generally can make it work. Last night was not the case. Last night was a nightmare. After driving around trying to find something to eat, I'm starving. Nothing's open. They got their lights on. I drove up to McDonald's. Like it's closed. I drove up to one restaurant there that we drove up to that, and they turned their lights out as we got up to there, as we were getting out of the vehicle. So I'm already pissed off. I'm already angry. Finally, I get to a Burger King. Now I drive up to the Burger King, and they got the window, the thing, everything that shows you the burger, and the burger looks all beautiful and it's in color. It's got the light behind it, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be it. This ain't, I can do this. This will get me, through the night, and then I can get up and go get something to eat. I wasn't expecting a gourmet, but it's Burger King. I'm all right with it, right? So we drive up to the window. I look at that little glass display, and this is what I see, right? All right. I see that, and I'm like, okay, it's their melt, it's their Whopper melt. And you hear the word Whopper, you're right, okay, Whopper's their signature burger. It's pretty big, man. I'm about to tear this up. This might be a two-hander. Nope. No, no, no. When I got home, I reached into my bag and I continued to reach. My fingers continued to search until at such time I pulled out this. I was horrified. I was pissed. Now, I am 6'2", pretty big dude, so I do have big hands, but those are my fingertips holding what was supposed to be my meal. All right. You lured me in with that, and I picked through my bag to find that. That's messed up. Needless to say, I had some issues with Burger King. All right. Because in the matter of 72 hours from seeing Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I went from something like this that took me 2 hands to eat and added 1.5 pounds onto my mass to this. From this to this. How did these two things happen on the same planet? All right. That is the size of a tape measure there. So, yeah. So last night was a disaster. I ended up ordering a pizza, which costing me more money because since there's nothing open, they know they got you by the balls. We're going to charge you. Had a 50% off coupon for the delivery thing. So they said, 50% off? We'll just tack on enough fees. We'll get that money back. Oh, it'll be like a $27 fucking medium pizza because I was starving. And Vegas isn't 24 hours anymore. So I got 2 bones to pick. Las Vegas, listen, pandemic's over. I understood. We're through it. We got visitors coming back. Walmart's not even open. I can't even get into Walmart and get a frozen burrito. And all the places that are open, guess what? They got a line wrapped around the entire parking lot. People getting into wrecks at a McDonald's because there's so many cars at McDonald's. We're not talking, not Chick-fil-A, a McDonald's. We're fighting for space to get into the drive-in for McDonald's. And then when you finally get up into the line, when you finally spend your money, when you finally, think that I'm not going to be starving for another 6 hours, you get that. So forgive me if I don't have the energy that I usually have, but that rant is over. Yeah. So like I said, real world problems. I'm pretty sure other people are having worst things happened to him today. Just wanted to let you know that William nearly starved last night. All right, so let's go back to the chat. Namor planning to attack the surface world was a plot point from the first Aquaman film, and Aquaman had better CGI in this film. Yeah, the CGI I didn't have too much of a problem with, but there were scenes that I noticed, and I'm like, that I don't. I expect Marvel to have that down pat. And then yes, I agree with you, Rational. The plot was cliche. It's how they both handled it differently. Ocean Master is not Namor. Namor was superior as far as the villain goes, and once again, the reason why I thought Aquaman sort of did that better is because Aquaman was there. Ocean Master and all the antagonists that were with him in that kingdom played off of Arthur Curry. Namor did not have that because of the decision that they made. So it's kind of a tough draw there. All right, Hacksaw Road was epic. Hacksaw Road was a brilliant movie. Saving Private Ryan is a brilliant. Dude, I went to go see Saving Private Ryan with World War II vets because a lot of them are still living then. Those guys, it was so real to them that they had to get up and leave. They could not make it. The first 37 minutes of Saving Private Ryan are some of the most brutal of any war movie you will ever see, and it's held up. That movie was released in 1996, 1997. It 25 some odd years later, 26, 77 years later, it holds up. It is a tough movie. I mean, I was okay with him being Aztec Mayan. I thought they did a good job, and like I said, we'll go over that tomorrow night. I thought they did a good job in tying those things together and making it very realistic and very relatable as far as that goes. I mean, it could have been done horribly, but I think they did it right. Like I said, they made all the right decisions as far as I was concerned to give me a Namor that I really like. And if you notice, one of the things I don't know if I'll bring this up tonight, but one of the things that I thought was pretty cool, and this is one of the newer Submariner comics that are out, and they've slightly adjusted his look to look like the movie, and they go into depth of what some of the things that some of the things that he didn't really spend the last 80 years or so not bringing up. Namor first appeared in comics in 1939, so he's actually older than Aquaman. All right, Daryl Taylor. I have been seeing nothing all day on social media, but people throwing shade at Ryan Coogler for the choice he made. He made more. He made, and Kevin Feige made it was still too soon. I won't throw shade at them because I completely I can empathize where they were coming from in their decision making. I do not agree with the decision, and it's just that simple. And for the reasons I've given in this stream and given in other streams, the story is first. All right, everything you do, especially as a director, especially as a screenwriter, especially as a producer, is for the story. When you put anything in the way of that story, when you let anything derail that story, no matter how good you are, no matter how many movies you produce, no matter how many awards you've won, at what point you've done that, you have failed that story. That doesn't make you a failure as a director that needs to get made fun of or mocked or anything like that, or tagged in Twitter or any of social media stuff. That just means you failed that story. And I believe that he failed. Well, I don't even believe. I know he did, because he did not keep his original script. He failed that story. He supplanted the story that he was going to tell with something that was something else. The reasoning, while, like I said, there's an emotional decision and there's a business and story decision. Story first, always. Once you get compromised and rightly so, he just lost a friend. But once you begin to compromise your story, it's time to step back. All right, time to step back. The two choices I think should have happened are Kevin Feige and them give them more time to grieve. Let's take some time. It was already 2 years now, ago. If you need some more time, whatever we need to do, because this movie's going to make money no matter what. But whatever we need to do so that our story remains first, that's what we need to do. If Ryan Coogler he can't take it and it's just too much of emotional bearing, I would have understood if he moved on. All right. I would have understood it. I would have been unfortunate, but I would have rather had Ryan Coogler move on than present a story that he never meant to present and that he is only presenting from an emotional circumstance. All right. The story is about T'Challa, not Chadwick Boseman. And that's not me. Don't send me hate stuff. I adore and have full admiration for Chadwick Boseman as an actor, both in Black Panther 42, Get On Up, anything he's been in. But even he and his family understood. His family, who knew him better than we will ever know him, wanted the role recasted, wanted the work to continue. So, and they're grieving. They're grieving more than anyone. But they understood that. So I just, like I said, I'm not going to dog him. He's not a piece of trash or anything like that. I disagree with the decision. But I went to that movie. I support that movie for, and, I just support him. Like I said, I can disagree with your narrative decisions, but not hate him. So if there's people on there giving him shade on social media, listen, guys, golden rule is if we do these things to directors and creators on social media that we would never do and to their face. This environment shields us from the consequences. I'm not saying somebody would hit you in the head for saying something stupid, but you would be ostracized right there and then if you walked up to somebody and said, you know what, you're this, and that because you made a decision I didn't like. You'd get laughed at. And eventually your ego would get so bruised you wouldn't do it anymore. But these computers and these cameras and these internets make it to where we can kind of hit and run, stick and stab and run. It's like the Viet Cong did in the tunnels. Pop your head out of a tunnel, take a shot, and go hide. So a lot of this affects the behavior, of that. There's no reason to throw shade. You can. If you want to, interact with somebody, I disagree with your decision. Good luck with your film. And this film's going to make $1 billion, so he'll be fine. Yeah, even Chadwick and his family, and because he knew that the work needed to go on. I mean, to me, and I'm not going to say it's like him dying twice because that's over dramatic, but it compounds the loss. It compounds the loss. Not only did we lose an up-and-coming actor way before he should be gone at 42, 43 years old, but we're compounding that loss by stopping the work, by stopping the momentum that he created with that character, by not giving that role to another up-and-coming Black actor that could make his career. So we are compounding the pain and the tragedy by making decisions like this, in my opinion. And look, I'm just a YouTube nobody, but I'm also a consumer. I am also, a person of color who really that character meant a lot to, and I know I speak for a lot of us because, like I said over and over again, we don't have much. You can count the blockbuster $1 billion capable IPs that are Black on one finger. So, and now we don't even have that. So yeah, that's what I would have done. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Take some time. One or two decisions. Take the time you need to make sure that the story stays first, or switch out some people. You know what? No one of those people were bigger than the movie because you've already admitted that by making a Black Panther movie without Black Panther. You've already admitted and already come to terms with that the show must go on. They just made a decision of how it should go on that did not reflect the story. And I thought it was a discredit to the story. The story that they presented, the one I saw, was good. But it could not have been as good as it could have been because of the Black Panther is not there. And like I said, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, you may not agree with me, but for those of you who do, you'll know where I'm talking about. You will be sitting in that theater and be like, wow, that really needed the Black Panther there. The Black Panther, not somebody in the suit. T'Challa needed to be there. And you felt it. And, I did my best to put it out of my mind, but it was impossible. And they don't make it easy. The movie starts out grieving. The movie has grief interwoven through its entire fabric. So it's not like it's something that, it's not like, well, put that out of your head and enjoy the movie. No, they made it part of the movie. They made it part of the product that now I am now consuming. So it's out there for criticism. All right. Yeah, it was Chadwick. I think it was his brother and his widow, right, Daryl? I think it was, But what I'm saying is, I think they probably had more communication. They probably were very well read in on his illness more than anybody was, because remember, a lot of the people at Disney and Marvel didn't even know he was ill. So I'm pretty sure a lot of the stuff they probably said, he probably laid out his wishes for a whole manner of things, and this may have been one of them. Once again, I wasn't there in the room, but his family wanting it to go forward, for me personally, as soon as I hear that, first of all, I'm going forward no matter what. I have to, because I have a story to tell. But once I hear that from the wife, once I hear that from his family, not only am I going forward, I'm going forward in earnest. I'm going to make, I might take that original script and see if I can make it even better. Just to, that's how you honor Chadwick Boseman, by making the best Black Panther movie that you could have made. And you can't really say that's the best Black Panther movie they could have made, because they made a decision not to put him in it. So there you go. All right. So yeah, Stella's not feeling well, and I don't think Thade was either. So they were both a little bit under the weather. I am too, to be honest with you. Allergies. I got my water here, with my caffeinated water that I poured into my coffee cup. That's why you can't really see through it. And yes, because the Starbucks that is near me is closed, I have some McMud. I'm dry. I was actually dealing with nosebleeds earlier. So, if you see me go off camera, when it gets cold this time of year, it gets really hard. I was hacking and coughing, All right. So, hey, Rhea. How you doing, Rhea, the Glimmering Harpy? Somebody accused me of hitting on you the other night. I'm like, I'm just saying hi. Not to say that Rhea is not beautiful. I'm just saying hi. And, just saying hi to a female doesn't mean I'm hitting on her. But you know what? Rhea is very beautiful. And that's not me hitting on you. But I still want your voice to be on my my telephone to replace my Google Voice. I'm going to see if I can do that to get with you. And I have a bunch of stuff going out for people that's sitting over there, and I have a black phone shirt for you. Hope it fits. It's the only one I got left. All right. Looks like I got a bot in the room. Let's see, and I don't have a moderator. Or did you guys get it? All right. Yeah, she got it. All right. So yeah. Well, like I said, I didn't want to spend too much time on Black Panther Wakanda Forever, because we're going to go into it in depth tomorrow night. So yeah, it's some of the stuff that like I said, I'm still okay. Movies are still better 30 years ago than today. The Blaxploitation era was way more progressive than what we get now. Dude, I am a fan of Blaxploitation, especially the horror stuff. American International Pictures, Blackula, Scream, Blackula, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. I mean, dude, in fact, I'm about to do for Black Friday. We're gonna do a Blackula double feature, Blackula Friday double feature. Sugar Hill. Some of them are a bit racist, though. And when I say some of them are a bit racist, they're it's us being the racist and not really. And some of those movies, the cops are made to look like, I mean, really bad. And if you watch Blackula, there's some homophobia. There's they were bad, and exploitation is the perfect name for them. But yeah, but it was cool because it was the first time. You got to realize it was after the civil rights era where black people were directing the movies, starring in the movies, headlining the movies. Those movies were tremendously popular. Superfly was popular, Shaft, Richard Roundtree. I mean, these weren't the greatest movies in some cases, but it was our era of making films. It was before we had Spike Lee. It was before we had uh, Singleton, who directed Rest in Peace, who directed Boys in the Hood. I mean, it was before we had guys like Coogler making movies. We weren't making movies, and the movies were pretty much generic, you know. And Blaxploitation was, it was an art form. Willie Dynamite, oh my goodness. Well, I mean, wow, like I said, that would be a stream in itself. We'd probably get canceled for doing that stream. So you haven't seen either Top Guns? You should be able to. I know the original is on Paramount Plus. The new one will be on Paramount Plus after the Blu-ray window is done. They wanted to have a separation between the Blu-ray and physical media being released before it pops up on Paramount Plus, but it'll be on Paramount Plus too. I really hope that you have a really big TV. The first one, you don't necessarily need to have IMAX because they didn't film it for IMAX. The second one, Top Gun Maverick, was filmed for IMAX, and they do the angles and do things that you might want to. I mean, get it on the biggest screen that you can. I mean, I got a movie screen in the office here, and we can watch it on that. But like I said, that IMAX screen, especially when they're doing all that and they're up at the angles, you feel, in that full Dolby sound, you feel like you're in the cockpit and it's shaking. The theater is shaking when they're in the jet. And if you've ever been near a deck or near a jet on a deck or on a landing strip, you feel it. You feel it from miles away. You feel them when they're over your head, and that's what they when you go see it in the theaters. That's how they do it. All right, so there's some stuff going on in the chat that we are not going to address. Stella, you know what to do. Warnings, and if it continues, we're gonna have to time you out. I am not the kind of guy who times people out or bans people or blocks people or does anything like that, but we're here to talk about imaginary creatures and superheroes and stuff. I do not want to address some of the stuff that's been going on. Like I said last night, this is not the place for it. There are places for that. This is not the place. If I'm boring you guys with geek speak, then that's cool. You can just, X me off the screen. But I've always said I'm here to provide you a refuge from all the shit that you have to deal with at your jobs, your church, your family, whatever it is that's going on. I like, this is your, 2 to 3 hours to get away from it all. And that includes some of the stuff that goes on social media, on Twitter and other YouTube channels. I'm not here to criticize how people express themselves. That's just not how we do it here. And I'm going to start being a little bit more disciplined in the chat. I've been a little bit liberal in the chat, but the chat can become its own world, separate than what we're doing sometimes. And I don't need it, just especially now, I don't need to have the chat have a life of its own. So Stella, please, if you're there, take care of some of that, and then kind of keep it down. All right, so Stella Baxter, okay, there she's taking care of that, so good. All right, Jared, there are good films. The new one is better. Yeah, it is. I never thought I'd say something would replace the iconic Top Gun, but the first one is better. They're both simple, bare bones movies, but the second one is I think it's more impressive because you took a 35-year-old concept and you basically did it again, switched out the people, and still I felt great after I left that movie. You know, the soundtrack is not as iconic as they do play Danger Zone in it, but there's Lady Gaga has a cool song in there, but there's no Berlin Take My Breath Away in there. You know, these were hits, and so it was missing that, but all the characters in it. I like Glenn Powell's Hangman. I like Nick Bradshaw, his son Goose. I mean, you know, it's in some ways it's cheesy, but it works. And apparently, I'm not alone. It made a crap ton of money, and it's going to make even more money on Blu-ray and DVD. Yeah, go see Maverick. It's good. All right. So, Maverick is awesome. Yes, it is. Okay. No. In my opinion, no. Saving Private Ryan is an all-time great movie. Now, they've been making war movies since World War II. So we're talking like 8 decades of making war movies and motion pictures. Saving Private Ryan is one of the most graphically depicted movies. And Steven Spielberg, I actually think, to be honest with you, it's one of Steven Spielberg's best movies. It was at a time where the sounds capabilities were just being upgraded to the point where, the shake the theater type sound quality. It was just now getting to that where theaters were, being bought out by the people who made these things. And so I don't know if any of you have ever heard a high caliber rifle shot or a machine gun shot, like a 50 cal. It makes a sound that it sounds like somebody dropping a brick into a barrel, but very loud, and one after another, after another, after another. It is a very shaking sound. Shooting one shakes your body. The kickback shakes your body. Even on a Barrett, which is a soft type weapon that is precision, that sound is still haunting. When you hear it, it just does something to you. In Private Ryan, they have they have these huge guns that are in these pillboxes, and they're ripping these guys apart. Now, for a guy that likes all 3Ds, death, destruction, dismemberment, Private Ryan had literally in the opening minutes, and it wasn't in the way that the horror fan in me is really all about. Especially as somebody who grew up in the military and whose father fought in that, or grandfather fought in that war. And I'm sitting next to World War II vets that are in there in tears, and they got those hats. They got the hats on, not like this, but the old. I have one for Operation Iraqi Freedom, but they have their old World War II hats with all the medals on them, their Purple Hearts, their ribbons. Some of the Navy guys had their ship ribbons on there. Some of them served with some legendary ships, and they had those hats. They're all sitting there. Some of them are walkers, some of them we wheeled them in wheelchairs, and they're just sitting there watching that. And it felt so real. And then when you see those guys get up and walk out because they can't take that anymore, Private Ryan is I think Private Ryan's the best combat war movie of all time. Now, Top Gun is a military conflict movie. If you want to call it a war movie or a military movie, it's definitely a military movie. But Private Ryan is a war movie. And if you guys have never seen it before, like I said, if you can make it past the first 37 minutes, you're okay. There is some other brutal stuff that happens because it is a war movie, but it's that first 37 minutes that if wow. For those of you who have been to war and who have been to the front lines and infantry and have been shot at or had people, things blow up around you, and you may have some issues with that. Like I said, I still have issues with fireworks. I'm like the dogs. I go into the table. It might be disturbing for guys like that, for like I said, 11 Bravos and guys that are, that have been out in the field, or people who are in transportation units, and had IEDs blow up. That's the kind of movie that can make you, even if you're not a World War II veteran, if you're a war veteran time, might make you get up and walk away for a little bit, or at the very least cover your ears. I know when I watch it now and I watch it in my surround, I have to cover my ears. So just to cope with it, it's that good a movie. Top Gun Maverick, Saving Private Ryan. All right. No, Top Gun Maverick is good. 1917 is better. Dunkirk is better, in my opinion. Top Gun Maverick is a great movie. It is great, top tier movie. But those movies, 1917 is great. 1917 should have won the Oscar that year. Dunkirk was up there with it. Dunkirk is great. If you guys have ever seen Dunkirk, it's awesome. Tom Hardy's in it. They do a great job of putting you into perspective. And World War II history is some of my favorite stuff to study. So I knew about the evacuation of Dunkirk. Studied it growing up, watched all the documentaries to see Dunkirk play out the way it did in history, up close. And from their point of view, Dunkirk is great. 1917 is great. Once again, a very brutal war that we don't get to see a lot of movies about. That's why I like Wonder Woman so great, because I thought it depicted World War I better. Because 1917 explosions, and you got to remember, whenever you see a good World War I movie, you're seeing some pretty brutal stuff, because we didn't have the Geneva Conventions, we didn't have War Crimes Act, we had the rudimentary tools, we didn't have precision guided stuff. It was legal, or it was the first war where we used gas in that manner, and it was the last war we ever did it, and it became a war crime to use it. That's why weapons of mass destruction, it's actually put into the Geneva Convention that you can be prosecuted for war crimes. But during World War II, they were gassing people in the trenches. You had trench warfare where you're stabbing and fighting hand to hand. That's what the term trench coat comes from, by the way, because in World War I they had these heavy leather coats that made it, because everyone there had K-bars or knives, and these coats were made out of very, very heavy leathers, so that when you were knife fighting in each other, because you couldn't shoot in the trenches like that, it was all knife fights, and you had to have these trench coats would stop the knives from getting to your vital organs. That's why it's called a trench coat, because that's the coat you wore in the trench. There you go. Jordan, nice to see you again. Hello, everyone. Please like to subscribe. Yeah, please like and subscribe. I think I put it in the comment section. It's youtube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center. It's really that easy now. Once I reached a certain amount of subscribers or whatever, they allowed me to stop having to use the alphabet and link it in and fill up your mailbox. Now it's just simply the Sci-Fi Center, or you can just go to YouTube and type in your search into the Sci-Fi Center. It's in the background image. Usually I have Fade or somebody here with me, and the background image would have it sitting on here. So I'll, to the chat here. So yeah, when it comes to war movies, ooh, man, there's some really brutal ones out there. But Private Ryan to me is the all-time greatest war movie of all time. Yeah, man, but damn, dude. I mean, that little thing. It was like I was picking, a gnat up off the ground. That's what that burger was. And when you're hungry, it's worse. I mean, ugh, that is not cool, man. You know what? Don't do this to your customer. Don't do this. This is not this. All right. This is supposed to be this, and it's not. So yeah, there's a problem. Like I said, and then I'm that customer, guys. When I'm starving and it doesn't go right food wise, and you present something like that, you know what? You got to put something under that burger that says not actual size. It is the size of a hockey puck. Warning you in advance. Get two of them, but don't put it up in big bright lights like that and have me salivating, and then get home and I'm like, dude, did the bag fall out? Or did the burger fall out to the bottom of the bag? No hole in the bag. and then I'm doing this shit, eating it. Like I said, I'm walking up to the door of my house, and and I'm 2 steps into the house. I took that picture, and then 2 more steps, the burger was gone. Someone could have tossed that to me like a dog gets a treat, and I probably could have caught it and eat it in one fell swoop. So if you approach, let's say you're at a burger joint, you're at a fast food burger joint, and fast food's gotten a little bit expensive. If you're getting into the $12 to $15 range with your burgers and fries, just go to Fat Burger, damn it. Or whatever it is you have in your area, Joe's Burger, and treat yourself to something like this. When you walk into the burger joint, this is what you should be doing. And asking the guy who's flipping them, is this your burger? Can I do this? Is this what I need to do to eat it? And when he nods yes, you stay. If he nods no, you get the hell out of there. Get out. Because if you don't get out, you may end up with that. And when you're starving, that is not good. All right. Back to real world problems here. Yeah. Oh yeah, we call. I called. I'm that customer. I'm like, hey, and they're gonna send me a coupon for a free one, a free Whopper, a grown man's Whopper, but and I'll forgive him because I like free shit. Yeah, man, that was literally the dog. The dog looked at it. I always give my dog fries or a piece of bacon, and because when you walk in, just a little nibble because it's not good for them to eat a whole thing like that. But I'm like, dude, the dog could have ate that whole thing and not had any health issues because I don't think it would have registered in her digestive system. Sure as hell didn't register through mine. So I almost, after I took my picture, said, you know what, screw this. And you know what the biggest crime was? It was good. It was tasty. It was actually good, which made it worse. It made it worse. 2 bites, I'm done. And it was actually good. Just imagine if they would have given me a grown man-sized hamburger. Life could have been different. Yeah. Yeah, yes, pictures are deceiving. I got, yeah, and I should know better. But when it's late, it's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever. You just want to get home, and I'm tired, and I just want to just go home and eat and kick off the shoes and maybe watch some documentaries. And I had to spend the next half hour because guess what? Everybody is getting food delivered because nothing's open. So I had to wait 40 minutes for a very expensive pizza, but I had no choice. Nothing else was open. The pizza joint, I couldn't even go to the pizza joint and eat because they're closed for walk-ups. So that's just a nightmare. All right, hey William, have you ever met RJ? Because I didn't know he also lives in Vegas. No, RJ does not live in Vegas, but he did come out here when we did our No Way Home promotion, and I think I brought up pictures of our No Way Home thing. Oh, by the way, I want to. I was going through my pictures, and I want to show you guys something that I think is really, really cool. Speaking of Namor and Jason Momoa and all that, he's been in the news lately, and we promoted back in 18? Was it 18 that Aquaman came out? We promoted Aquaman, and we really promoted Aquaman. We gave away, I think, 150 some odd tickets to Aquaman, live ones, and then we gave away some Fandango tickets, and we had all kinds of stuff to give away that night. But let me get down to these pictures because this is kind of cool. All right, so this is on my Instagram. So I am going to share my screen and see if I can do this without screwing up. Because I really, Vince, I'm probably going to take your advice with the OBS thing eventually, but right now but yeah, I need to have it. So this is my Instagram. By the way, you can find me on Instagram, just the Sci-Fi Center. All right, here we go. All right, so So we did this. This is me. This is at Red Rock or at Red Rock Cinema. All right, and and can I make this bigger? Not the all right, so right there's me. We made that throne. We made that throne. That's me sitting with a toy. Um, it's actually a trident. It was a much smaller trident. It was only about like 3 feet long. But we took the bottom and the top off of it, and we put a quarter or a inch long, inch thick pipe, PVC pipe, and we painted it gold. So that's me sitting. That's me sitting there on the throne that we made. And let's go and see. Let me see if I can remove me or go to. Okay, there we go. All right, so that was one of the pictures, but we took a lot of pictures, and here's this go now. All right, that's me talking to the crowd, introducing the movie, and thanking everybody for coming. This is pre Shazam shirt days because Shazam came out afterwards. So this is one of the last superhero movies that I would ever go to, looking like a normal human being. All right, and then we bought this throne. We had it built, and I'll show you the video. Um, we had it made, and it's out styrofoam. It's a slip cover, some spray paint, and you can kind of see that there's like crab claws at the bottom. And we made it so that little kids could come sit on it, take pictures, and cosplayers could come take pictures. And so you can see there's a little kid. As soon as we put it down, we were surprised it lasted as long as it did, but it was kind of cool. So there's a little kid sitting on the throne we made. Now there's a really hot cosplayer that was there. She's one of the Las Vegas cosplayers, I think, at the time. She dressed up as Mira. She had her own trident, but ours ended up being better. So she grabbed her for our picture, and there's my logo behind it. But it was a pretty cool deal. I mean, people sat in it. We didn't think that thing was going to last because it was so fragile, and we put it in the back of a truck. But we ended up keeping it for a couple of months afterwards. And there it is. And you can kind of see right behind there, there's the Aquaman posters that we were giving away. They gave away huge Aquaman posters away. And there's a trident. This is before we loaded it up in the truck. And here's the actual. This was right after we finished building it. You guys got a close up of it. Like I said, it's just a plastic lawn chair with a whole bunch of cardboard on it, a whole bunch of spray paint. But like I said, they loved it. They had a lot of fun with it. And like I said, when we do these promotions, we go all out. We go crazy. So that's that. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that because I think it was cool. So let's see. Go back to the chat. All right. Let's see. So yeah, the burger was bad. Yes, fourth. Yes, that's how I felt. Actually, I didn't feel nauseous. I just felt starved. I was very mad. Burger Jester. yeah, I wasn't calling him king. And like I said, I had a pretty good run with Burger King. I mean, I hadn't had any issues. I maybe it was my fault for seeing that on the screen and believing in it. It's like a grown man believing in Santa Claus. It's my fault, but lesson learned the hard way. All right. Yeah, COVID really fucked up the fact. And it's sad because business is back. I mean, in Vegas, tourism is back. It's back to its normal levels now. Vaccinated, everybody, we still have people who get it, but it's not like it was 2 or 3 years ago where, we didn't have anything. We didn't have a vaccine. We didn't have anything. We didn't have treatment. We didn't have nothing. Remember how bad COVID was. The worst thing about COVID, as it was killing people, we had no answers. It was new. It was a novel virus. We had no answers on how to do it. Nobody was back. When you got COVID, you just hoped and prayed that, vitamins and everything else would help you. You went in quarantine, and then the people who went off the deep end, and I know a lot of people who now have permanent issues, respiratory issues because of it, and kidney issues, liver issues, and everything else. And or they were on a ventilator. One of my coworkers, I remember texting her while she was in the hospital just to keep, cheer her up. And all of a sudden, she stopped replying. And then my other coworker who was with her got into the chat, into the thing, and explained everything to me. We almost lost her but she has permanent, things going on with her now because of that. Remember, we didn't have, so yeah, I could understand like then. Could completely understand why we had to go. But now we're headed into 2023. We've got vaccine. We don't have outbreaks anymore. We don't start opening stuff back up. And I think a lot of these places use it as an excuse not to to lay off people and not to bring them back. Because Vegas is a 24 town. I got here in 93. And one of the cooler things about it was if no matter what shift you work, you could go get something to eat. No matter what kind of concert you went to, no matter how late the movie was, no matter how you could go to a 24-hour anything, you name it, Chinese food, Walmart, McDonald's, everything was 24 hours. And even before COVID, it started to peel back. But after COVID, it's like 11 o'clock. Walmart, you're going to close at 11 o'clock? You're Walmart. All right. Some of the gas stations here close at 2. Your gas station. You should always be open. This isn't Mayberry. So yeah, driving around trying to find things that are open, and unfortunately, it's the quality is thinned out. So, and like I said, I know other towns close at certain times, but Vegas, come on. I mean, and I don't want to go to the Strip to get a burger, dude. We locals, we stay away from the Strip. Strip is a nightmare for us locals. We leave that for the tourist. Not yet. Because we have so far away between now and Secret Wars, we have a lot of stuff in between, and I need to see how they lay the groundwork for Secret Wars. And Marvel right now just has too much going on for me to focus on anything that down the line. I'm excited for Secret Invasion because it's upcoming. But I'm not as excited for Secret Wars because I know there's a lot of stuff in between now and then. I'm intrigued by it to see, what they use it to do. But at 2 years away from now, it's hard for me to get too excited about it. Hey, man, I burn a lot of energy. And that energy needs to be replenished. All right, just order 4 of those. You know what? If I would have known that it was the size of this tape measure, I would have. You know what? I would have. I may have just said, that's a little bit too expensive for what you're giving me. I'll go to Roberto's and wait in that long ass line. And to get a burrito, a $14 burrito that used to cost me $9, but I'm hungry. I'm going to do it. But I didn't know, and usually I check my bag. You check your bag to make sure everything's in there. I should have checked to make sure there was a real hamburger in there. See, when I go get a fat burger, we know it's a burger in there. You feel it. You weigh it in your hands, and you're like, how am I going to turn this into something that is going to get filtered through my body without me exploding? You can feel the grease. I mean, you can smell it. The grease, they got all it. That's why I don't eat them on a regular basis. But there's so much grease on there that it literally starts making the bag deteriorate. So you have to go back and get a double bag. So when the weight of it makes it fall through the bag, that's a burger. And like I said, I just, but unfortunately, Fat Burger was 24 hours. They close at 10. Some of them close at 11. Now, you clearly know from that you're talking about to me live at 11 o'clock. Stream or not, I'm in Vegas now. I'm close to the Strip and the hotels, and we have a lot of events that happen really close to us and near us and in our plaza. So it serves me to be open late. So, I don't want to curtail my day just to go eat. You know what? I might just start eating top ramen again. I thought I graduated from that. Yeah, it's bad. Like I said, fast food has turned into it used to be easy. They've made the easy things hard, damn it. Question, William, what was the name of the burger and what fast food chain is that? That was Burger King and that was a Whopper Melt. All right. Marcus Cruz, please adjust your comments to William and no one else. Okay, probably all gone. Clinton, when it comes to cartoons and small sandwiches, William has vast amounts of bitching. Yes, I do, damn it. Yes, I do. And I took a break from bashing some animation yesterday, obviously, because we lost Kevin Conroy. And I did not want my complete, absolute lack of use for Batman the animated series or X-Men the 92 series to be put in the forefront while we were mourning a legend, because regardless, despite my feelings about Batman the animated series and the fact that I don't think it should exist, Kevin Conroy did a great job. He did more than just a great job. He personified that. He gave the voice to a lot of people's Batman, not mine, but you could hear the outpouring. So I put my animation, and you know what? It's not just any animation that makes me ill. It's 90s animation. It's them taking great characters and making them soft and gooey in the center so they can present them to kids. That's my gripe. Animation as it comes out now, I mean, I'm looking forward to what James Gunn has in store for DC animation and stuff like that. You know what? I don't think I'll be watching any Marvel stuff. I may watch the Spider-Man one, but we're in a place now to where the trajectory of those characters are being more determined by TV shows in cinema than they are for cartoons. They are not making these movies for kids. All right, kids, they're accessible to kids, but they are not for kids. The 90s animation was made for kids. The source material that they came from was not. So that's where I had an issue with it. So, but new animation, stuff like that, and I'm going to start watching a lot more anime now that the storage center is going to start carrying animation. So I'm going to have to start watching, anime for me is Akira, Trigun, Ghost in the Shell, things like that, Macross. I never will watch Sailor Moon, but I know of it. But things like that. That's what animation is to me. So I'm gonna have to, So I'm not against cartoons. I'm just against 90s cartoons. So can Namor talk to fishes like Aquaman? Yes. Okay. So, well, you saw just from the trailer, so this isn't a spoiler. He can communicate with animals and make them do what he needs them to do. You saw him on the trailer. He's commanding the whales, so that his people can ride them, and he's commanding a shark. You saw just that in the trailer, so that. So I'm not spoiling anything from you. So yeah, he can. And there's a lot of other things that I think that they will have him do once he's in his own movie or he's the feature, more so a part of the movie, because there's a lot of powers that Namor has that I could see them using. And remember, most of the powers that Namor has, Aquaman copied. It's one of the few times where DC was the one doing the copying, because of, like I said, Namor and Human Torch predate what is the modern day Marvel comics. But I love Namor in this movie. I mean, for the issues I have with the decision that they made with the story and certain other issues, Namor and the Queen, Angela Bassett, they are not one of them. And she shines in this movie. She's a badass in this movie. All right, so Question Williams, Teenage Namor. That's Teenage Namor comics. I want those. Oh, talking about the one I had up in here, Concord Shores. I'm actually going to bring this up tomorrow. I'll have this with me. I may have this with me tomorrow, depending on where I stream from. But I may just have images brought up because I really want to. I want to go. Namor is a major part of this movie. He's one of the best parts of this movie, and I really want to go into his character. And I love one of the coolest things I love about comic book movies as a guy who spent 40 years in the industry as a fan and as a dealer, as a collector. I always like to see the parallels. I don't even mind when they make major changes, and they do make some major changes in Namor's origin, and I will go into those in the spoiler. And I thought they worked. Even the bullshit mutant thing works here. And if they would have done it that way, back in 1990 when they first wanted to slap the mutant label on them, it would have been a lot easier to digest instead of we want more money, we want X-Men cells for Submariner, make him a mutant. The way he he becomes what he is laid out very well, and it's a major plot point that through line throughout the film, and I really enjoyed it. All right, Kevin O'Doc here. I don't know if this is your first time, but I love it. If that's your real name, that's kick ass. All right, Zeno, William, would you prefer the MCU stick to comic source material? For me, the changes are weird, like stock monitoring, mentoring Peter Parker, and the lack of X-Men. Okay, so yes and no. All right, so we'll start out with the no. So for any of you who are familiar with the way I think about Tom Holland Spider-Man, I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I hate his story. I hate his dependency on Tony Stark. Peter Parker is ingenious. Peter Parker did his own costume. Peter Parker did his own web shooters. Peter Parker figured things out on his own because he was a lonely kid that had to keep his identity. He didn't need Iron Man for anything. And he definitely would have never been subservient to him. Like, Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark. No, not the Peter Parker that I read. And the Peter Parker that had been in other movies. And I understand that, not every Spider-Man is going to be like my Spider-Man. I if you want to take liberties and change them for the times, you go ahead and do that. But the reason why I liked No Way Home is because after all the years of Peter Parker just being, a hanger-on, and I'm an Avenger now. Peter Parker didn't even go into outer space until 8 years as being a character. Peter Parker never joined a group. Stan Lee didn't want it that way. Stan Lee did not want him as part of the, he would visit the Fantastic Four. He would always be in your car, your comic books as a guest. He would be Marvel Team Up. Strange Tales. He was there. He was the logo. He was the symbol. When your book was failing, they threw Spider-Man in there. When Doctor Strange was slagging in sales, here comes Spider-Man. All right. When Marvel Team Up was about to get canceled, here comes Spider-Man. When Fantastic Four was lagging in sales, here comes Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man was a universal character that had that kind of pull. He was literally the logo. If you bought a comic from 1975 all the way up till the late 90s and mid 2000s, Spider-Man was on your lower left-hand corner. He was Marvel Comics. And the way he was portrayed in the MCU up to a point was as a add-on character. He is not a subservient character to anybody. When Spider-Man is in your storyline, it usually generally revolves around him. All right. He and in Marvel, he bought him in. He's a kid. He's like, Mr. Stark, what are you? He was just some kind of, annoying kid. And if you read Spider-Man, no matter who wrote him, the part of the thing, and this is one of the things that makes Miles Morales, I think, great, and why I don't ever want to see Miles Morales in the MCU unless they can write him like they finally ended up writing Tom Holland Spider-Man. It took them 6-7 years to do so. Is because what made Spider-Man appealing is that he was alone, and that he was this awkward kid. Every one of us have been awkward kids in high school. Peter Parker was an awkward nerd kid. He was solitary. And Spider-Man allowed him to break out of that. But he always had to come home to that. He had to solve his problems. He faced off against the Green Goblin, one of the deadlier enemies Marvel's ever had. He had to find a way to defeat him on his own. All right. Dr. Ock, Kingpin, all these enemies that Spider-Man's are in Spider-Man's Rose Galaxy, he had to come up with a way, for the most part, to beat him on his own. And every now and then he would call in the Fantastic Four or he would pay a visit. But for the most part, he was a solitary character that figured it out on his own. And that is why the average comic book reader during that era was a young male, could relate to him. And the one that they presented, for the most part, just wasn't relatable until No Way Home. So there are certain instances where I think they should have stuck more to the source material. Spider-Man is one of them. But the lack of X-Men, I'm okay with that simple because I think Marvel has a tendency to clutter the universe a little bit. And I think you're kind of seeing that now to the point where the more things you put in the universe, the less those things get time. So I'm okay with them waiting for the X-Men and coming up with a long-term X-Men, a way for X-Men to actually come about. I don't like the throw everything that's in your refrigerator to make a salad approach that a lot of fans want Marvel to do. Every time there's a Marvel character, oh, we got to get Miles Morales in the MCU. No, we don't. Oh, we got to get this guy. Venom's got to be in the MCU. No, we don't. This guy, that guy, got to get in the MCU. No. All right, because eventually, if you just take all the shit in your refrigerator and throw it into a bowl, and don't take a look at the ingredients and how they'll go together or they won't go together, you're going to get something that tastes like shit. And not every character needs to be jammed into the MCU. And it's shown. They've demonstrated that. Right now, in my opinion, you have a crowded, bloated universe that doesn't move very well once it's reached its zenith. Now, that doesn't mean they don't still make good movies. But I think that they need to, in my opinion, streamline a lot of things. I don't need 1,000 characters. I don't need Endgame where everybody. It's like one of those posters you used to buy as a kid with Marvel, and it's Marvel Universe poster with every character in Marvel on there, and you had to pick them out and find the character. Like, where's Waldo? I don't want the movies to end up like that. So when they adapt something, if they're not going to write a story to support it, aside from the combined universe that they're doing, and that's another thing. I'm a fan of combined universes. To me, shared universe is the way to go. However, not every character needs to be in a shared universe, especially once your shared universe has gotten so large. So everybody, got to get Wolverine in the MCU. You got to get this guy in the MCU. You got to get the X-Men. No, I don't mind waiting for the X-Men to be slowly and methodically rolled out and put into the MCU. Because if they do it right, then certain characters are going away. The MCU needs to be smaller, in my opinion. So, to answer a quick question, I know that went on for a long time, but yes and no. Yes, I wish they would have done Spider-Man more to his core values in the book, but no, in the manner of the lack of X-Men. I think the lack of X-Men right now is a good thing. It's just one more pound of shit out of your refrigerator that will make my bowl collapse on the ground. That's just my opinion. I'm probably in a minority. All right, Skywalker the Jedi, new subscriber. Much respect to you. Thank you, Skywalker. I think I'm pronouncing that. Yeah, Skywalker. Yeah, thank you we need all the new subscribers we can get, man. I'm on right now. I'm on the Poindexter Lounge. I'm part of a network, but as you guys know, I am doing. I'm developing my own channel into short form content that is more informational. Pretty soon, all the live streams will just be off of there, and they'll be on Poindexter Lounge. My longer live streams are a better fit for this, because this is how I came into this YouTube universe, is through through the Poindexter Lounge. So I'm more comfortable doing that on here. But like I said, my channel is going to be more out of the theater stuff, more informational stuff, and more shorts. It's going to be a bunch of shorts. And when we start filming, like I'm going to use my entire Thanksgiving days off to film shorts. And we got the green screen back there. We got all kinds of stuff. And we're just going to film shorts. So I want everybody to go over to that channel, especially a lot of you who are not as familiar with the paper IPs and the comic books, for everything you're seeing on that big screen. For a lot of the talk that is the MCU, this came first. These comic books came first. Hell, Namor came first before anything. Marvel. I mean, Namor and Human Torch are the two oldest characters in Marvel Comics. If I can, so you're literally seeing the oldest character as far as release wise. There are older characters, but Namor was 1939, and then Human Torch was right after him, and then Captain America and Captain America Comics, which was made by Timely Comics, so it wasn't fully Marvel then. There's a lot of history I want to dive into. All right, so dude, Vance, the MCU has never really been comic. No, they haven't. And here's the thing about Comics Accurate, and this is coming from the comic book nerd. I understand in most instances if you cannot be comic accurate, because you know what? If I want a comic I'll read this. The director and the screenplay writer and those guys, they're making a movie. They are making a TV show. It's a different apparatus than what you would put into a comic. Because remember, comics, you can connect them to each other in ways, even with the Marvel Cinematic Universe or DCU, that you cannot do on screen. Comics, you have a lot more history and time to lay that out, and you can change things. Your movies, even your longest ones, are what, 3 hours? 3 hours may seem like a long time, but that's not enough. Hell, we only hit the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Namor. And the thing about a comic book is this, once I introduce you into a movie, you pretty much got to wait and let the story develop as far as that goes. When I introduce you to Namor in a comic book, you have the ability to go back and research and build that story on your own at your own pace. That's something that a screenwriter and a producer and a director don't have the advantage of. They don't have the advantage of the decades history and the familiarity. They have the familiarity, the brand familiarity, but as far as the storytelling goes, they're making a movie, whereas, like I said, the mentality of making a comic and developing a comic book character is totally different. It's a totally different mindset. So I don't mind them taking it. And like I said, with Namor, they take some serious liberties with Namor. And I'm okay with all of them. They did what they needed to do to tell the story on that format. On the comics, it's a different format altogether. So I'm okay with that. All right, Zeno. Oh, hold up a blade is that the director left because they couldn't get a script together, and now I think Hermashla, I can't, I'm messing with Hermashla Ali, 2-time Academy Award winner. Now he's upset because this happened like 6 weeks before they were supposed. I mean, we covered this a couple of weeks ago. They delayed it for a while because of all that, and now he's upset because this happened 6 weeks before film date, which is not something that usually happens under Kevin Feige. And remember, when you switch up a Marvel movie, you got to redo a lot of. It's kind of like what DC's going through right now when they're changing up their endings and reshooting all that because they're trying to create a tighter, connected universe. Marvel already has that machine going. Everything is connected to the next thing. So everything was released in sequence. So whatever Blade was supposed to mean to the rest of the MCU, now that all gets shifted. So that's a major thing. It's gonna be interesting to see how they remedy that. You say hi, you monster. What? All right, that went over my head, Sorry. Hi, Jay. How you doing? Valerie 325 or Valterra 325. Studio fear to recast characters is a mistake. Black Panther should have been recast, and yeah, and Luke Skywalker, it's time. I would prefer when it comes to Star Wars. Listen, I grew up with Luke Skywalker. Those characters, Chewie, Han, Lando, R2D2, these people have been part of my life for my entire time on this planet. When you have to ask yourself after 40 years and 6 movies and everything else that goes along with the Skywalker brand, when you start getting to the point that we have to recast a character, you may have spent too much time on that character. And with Luke Skywalker, it's gotten to the point where they are so afraid, in my opinion, of going outside, far outside of that bubble, because that's been their safe zone for 40 years, that they would rather recast the character than go forward. Okay. All right. Somebody just messaged me. So I think I don't think we should recast Luke Skywalker. I think we should move on to some other Star Wars characters. But yeah, to me, like I said, to answer this one, Volterra is the story has to come first. Story has to come first. Once you put the story first, everything else should fall in line after that. If you're doing everything in support of the story, then you'll be all right. But sometimes emotions No, Matt Carangel's not dead yet. Stop saying that. Jeez, we had a lot of people. Just lost Gallagher yesterday. It's knock on wood. We just lost Gallagher and Kevin Conroy yesterday. I mean, it's been a rough year, man. Don't know. Nobody's. Black Caesar, yeah, Black Caesar's cool. Black Caesar's sort of retro though. And even some of the newer ones like Eddie Murphy, My Name is Dolomite. That's a Blaxploitation movie told through modern eyes. Oh, geez, that's bad. Remember when I used to tell you you're gonna go blind? I'm supposed to sit that close to the TV. All right, Zeno, I'm talking about a younger version, so they could tell stories. Past Return of the Jedi. I got what you mean. To me, I'm ready. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to go 1,000 years ahead or 1,000 years back or 2,000 years back and tell a story, movie wise that is very far removed away from those guys. How you doing, Mr. Wayne? He's flexing. Quality matters more than size. I have a 65-inch. Yeah, but it was really cool. I mean, if you can make it shake like they did on with those F-18s, and more power to you. My cheap ass, I got my screen, I got my stuff here, but most people just have their normal TV. But you know what? TVs are getting big. 65 inches is pretty big. That's it's 5'5". That's pretty big. I think I like I said, that IMAX and just like leaning back, looking up as especially with that scene where Maverick, like you see it in the trailer, Maverick splits him and then goes all the way up. You're leaning back watching him like, oh man, that was cool. Loved it. All right, we're just going through the guy. Hello, El Necron, how you doing? There's way CGI better than model work. I am going to agree and disagree at the same time. I think practical effects are great if you can do it, but very few people can do it like that. Not everybody's a Stan Winston or some of the model makers for Blade Runner. A CGI, if it's done right, it's recognizable. You wouldn't know the difference. Bad CGI is different though than you would. So I'm kind of in the middle of that one. All right, thank you, Jay. I will try to improve every time I click on the button here. What's up, Integrity? All right, they made model towns and cities and making the Lord of the Rings, didn't they? And that's how CGI. Well, a lot of the movies that are being made in modern era are a combination of both. There is I've seen, if you watch the behind the scenes on certain things, you'll see that there's practical effects and models being used and overlaid with CGI. It's I think it's almost impossible these days to do it fully one way or the other. There's just too many things where the mock-ups and everything. And when you're zooming in and you're flying and there's it's not all when they use the volume. Sometimes they're using it in combination with practical effects. So I think now it's almost every movie I've seen, it's got to be a combination of both. All right. Oh, geez, in order to respond to his silliness, I would spoil the movie, but here you go. All Quiet on the Western Front is on Netflix and is a very good in its depiction of the horror of World War I. Yes, it is, and there's a new version of it too. I think the new version was what Clint is talking about. Dave Taylor, William, you and they need to watch Interview with a Vampire. It's on my list, dude. It's on my list, and my queue is getting embarrassing right now. I'm literally going to have to lock myself in my room and not come out until I've watched all these things. I'm just falling further and further behind. What about Battle of Los Angeles? It was all right. Yeah. It was a fun movie. I don't consider it it is a war movie, but yeah, no spoilers. Save it Private Ryan, Platoon, Apocalypse Now, Hurt Locker. Hurt Locker was pretty good. I didn't think it was the best movie of that year, but I liked Hurt Locker, and I know a lot of guys who are EODs that love that movie. Apocalypse Now I could never relate to, even though I know it's one of the greatest movies of all time. I was too young when I saw that, and I didn't get other stuff. And once again, you know how I feel about Saving Private Ryan. All right. Yeah, see, Dave's not here tonight, but he read it and watched it, so I got to get on it. All right. I mean, all film is subjective. I love Dunkirk, and I love. Oh, dude, Hans Zimmer's soundtrack for Dunkirk is amazing. Google or YouTube version 15. It's the one when Tom Hardy's flying at the end, providing them air cover. It's a song that they're playing at the end, and it's a song that they play in the end credits. I love Hans Zimmer stuff. Skywalker the Jedi. My favorite military movie is Act of Valor, Black Hawk Down. Probably say Black Hawk Down. I was just getting done with basic training. I was at Where was I at? I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma in 1993 in October. I graduated basic training in October. My last days were like October 4th. So we were basically done and we were free to roam around. And, we hadn't been watching TV the whole time because it was part of our training not to. But when I was a brand new private. I mean, I was E1, brand new private. And if I'm seeing Black Hawk Down happen, and I'm like, wow, you know what? And I wasn't old enough to be part of the original Persian Gulf War. I missed it by 1 year. I missed it because I was only 16, and in the Army you can get a waiver if you're 17, which is what I did. I joined when I was 17. So I'm watching before there was any movie about Black Hawk Down. I'm watching in real time events because they kept showing the soldier being drugged around, and the one that was in the plane crash, in that Super 6-4 that crashed in Durant. He was already dead, but they drug him around. And the most offensive thing about the media depiction of Black Hawk Down that really angered me is I knew just as an E1, we lost 19 guys that day. Uncle Sam lost 19 soldiers that day, including Gordon and Shugart, who are the word hero is thrown around a lot. It is not thrown around when it comes to those guys. Those guys should have a stadium named after them. All right. Every October 3rd, I make sure that any timeline that I'm on Facebook or whatever, I make sure I put their Medal of Honor citation. Those are the two Delta Force guys who wrote down, and they are why Michael Durant, Chief Warrant Officer Michael Durant, is alive today. They bought him the time for the other warlords that needed him as a hostage to get there. But the most offensive thing about the way they depicted Black Hawk Down at the time, and I remember I'm watching this in real time. It wasn't a movie for me. Is we killed a lot of Somalis that day. We lost 19, but you're talking about Rangers, highly trained. In the Army, when you're in probably Marines and any other armed force where you get a weapon, when you go to BRM, which is basic rifle marksmanship, they tell you the discipline. Every round needs to be a box or an empty seat at the table for that enemy. All right. Every round. Do not fire a round unless you got a clear target and you can put it center mass. That's what they taught us. You got 30 rounds when we put you on this range. If you had 30 enemy, those need to be 30 graves that are getting filled. And that's as an E1 just in the Army. That's the discipline. Rangers and Green Berets and Navy SEALs and Delta Force, they're on a superhuman level of fire. They're disciplined, and they're the ones who can do that. If they were pulling the trigger that day, you figure if every Ranger had a few hundred rounds on him, that they killed a lot more. And I remember Colin Powell taking a lot of heat saying, because he came from Vietnam, and he said if we'd have killed 19, if we would have had 19 dead on our side, and they estimated over 2,000 Somalis were killed, and they just stopped counting. It could have been a lot more. He said that would have been a success. They got Mohammed Farah Adid was the Lord did, and the mission was to get 2 of his lieutenants. They actually did that. They got the 2 lieutenants, his lieutenant. They arrested them. They got him back to the base. What happened was because they were the mission was to drop them in, and then they were supposed to Humvee them out. That's when everything became chaos. So the mission was actually successful. Yes, we lost 19 GIs that day, but we killed a lot more. And but what ended up happening was that was the era where we didn't show a lot of death on TV. When you watch the Persian Gulf War, we didn't lose that many people in 1991. And whenever you have a war effort, in World War II, we fought 450,000 Allied servicemen died in World War II. In Korea, 56,000 American soldiers died in Korea. But the difference is they had a better control of the media. Once the Vietnam era hit, right, roughly the same amount of people died in the Korean War as died in Vietnam. But Walter Cronkite was there. Camera was there. We were bringing that carnage home to you. So, and that's what pretty much pulled the momentum off of that, because we lost a lot more people in other wars, but it was because we were bringing it down. 19 soldiers dying is awful. Every one of those souls is a hero. But like Colin Powell said, in Vietnam, you were losing that many on a daily basis, and you couldn't have the effect on the enemy, as much effect on the enemy as they did on October 3rd, 1993. So whenever somebody brings up Black Hawk Down, like I said, I was an E1 at that time. And at the time, you're thinking, okay, that could be you. I'm in my brand new uniform. All right. I am now a soldier, and I'm watching soldiers getting dragged through the street and hearing about all this. And it had a profound effect on me. Sorry to go on that long, but like I said, Black Hawk Down, and then the movie came out. By the way, it's a Ridley Scott movie, greatest director of all time. The movie, I think, does a very good job depicting what was going on. You get to see those soldiers killing a lot of people, and you give them a bit of a doubt that, trust me, thousands of Somalis died that day, and the act of bravery that those guys went through that day, especially Shugart and Gordon, they're heroes. If I ever get rich enough to own a sports team or a football team, I'm putting those two guys' statues out in front of it, and I'm naming that stadium after them. Those are heroes. Those are real heroes. They looked down and they looked at all the Somalis surrounding that guy, and they knew if they didn't rope down there that he was going to die, even though they were heavily outgunned. They ended up dying because they ran out of ammo and they were overwhelmed. But they bought Michael Durant enough time, so those guys are heroes. Sorry, got to move on to sorry to bring down the stream with war stuff, but that one means a lot to me. Dunkirk, yeah, Dunkirk is great, man. I love Dunkirk. I don't think we will see Tina Chahula and more stuff going forward. Oh yeah, I thought I don't. Oh, please, I wanted more. I left wanting more of Namor. Dude, I loved everything about him. And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, everything works. All the changes work, and we'll go on that tomorrow. But the changes work with Namor. I really enjoyed him for everything some of the stuff that didn't work for me for Wakanda Forever. Namor and Angela Bassett, they are the ones that work. All right, Colin Hydrogibus, if you get hit with a shockwave underwater, want you inside? Yeah. In Hollywood, no. But if you get hit with a shockwave of any type, like say a mortar, a mortar's job, people look at mortars in Hollywood, guys are flying all over the place, and then they get back up, and then they're running. Oh, we got to get away. That's bullshit. The purpose of a mortar is it can do direct damage, but the mortar has a concussive blast and it does its most damage on your lungs, on your respiratory system, and your ribs. And any place else it does on your body, you can survive. But once you take, and if you've ever been at a stadium concert, and they have those big giant amps, and the guy's testing the drum they're playing today, you can feel it in your chest. Imagine that 1,000 times more and going through you. All right. You can kill so many people within a range of that because of the shockwave can kill you. And the water, it's worse because it's not just the concussive pressure from the mortar in the air. And the water, it's the water pressure. That's not the wave, and the pressure is crushing you as well. So yeah, but in Hollywood, they do. You got to suspend your leave. No sound when Top Gun is on green. Okay. Go to Fat Burger. Yes, Colonizer Jeebus. Fat Burger wasn't open. It wasn't open. I would have loved nothing more to put another 1.5 down my goal. It just wasn't open. All right. Yeah, I went to Fat Burger. Yes, I did. I went to Fat Burger and got a burger that was like I said, I know co-workers, if they curled up into a ball and I put them in my hands, they wouldn't have been as big as a burger, right? Boy, mom was, yeah, I know. And I kicked myself in my own ass for that. No, and it was the fact that it was the correct order. It just, I should have looked in there and been like, you know what, this is awful light for what that's on that picture. I've been lied to. Voltaire, William, how do you honestly feel about the deviation from the comic? I love it. I love it. I think they really put together a real thought out history, and the changes that they made for this movie, I think, work great and are make him a very powerful, and they make him a very believable enemy. And that's all I really want sometimes in my villains. A good villain, even if he's doing horrible things, you should be able to look at his motives. Sometimes your motives are just pure evil, and people want to watch the world burn. But some of the best ones, like Zod, and Killmonger, is when their plight is reasonable, even if their methods are a complete horror. And Namor is not so much a villain as he is the antagonist. But when you watch the movie, you'll see it's not that simple. It's not that simple. There's some things that I won't go into till tomorrow night that will make it. You may not forgive him for some of the things he does. It may take some time, but there are reasons why he does it, and they are valid, sound reasons. So I'll leave it there without spoiling it. 11:49. All right, we're almost at the. Dude, I am like dry as fuck. Rational Skeptic, you should have gone to Checkers. Checkers was closed. I even the one down the street from me was closed. I loved Checker Rayleigh Burger. Rayleigh Burgers are huge. I would have not been disappointed. They were closed, and then the other one that was on the food ordering thing, they wouldn't deliver. They have delivery hours. So I tried everything, dude. I should have filmed myself going through this angst last night. It was bad, man. But yeah, I tried it all, man. It was horrible. Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket. The first 15 minutes. Ari Emily. Doing the whole Joe Sargent thing. Every Joe Sargent after Full Metal Jacket wanted to be that guy. And trust me, the Psychopath and Joe Sargent Mahoney and Joe Sargent Washington, if you're watching this stream, we're good now. I called you guys from my tent in that other desert, and we laughed about, all the stuff that you put me through. But you motherfuckers are crazy. All right. I told this story a couple of weeks ago about them dragging me, my 80-pound duffel bag that we had to hold like that for extra suffering, all the stuff that we had. This psycho grabbed me by that, dragged me off 3 flights of stairs, threw me into a locker so hard it dented the locker. Then he made me punch the dent out of the locker after he was done throwing it to me. And just completely got in my face. And then, like I said, I thought I was going to suffer alone. I looked behind me. Other people are being dragged and just tossed. And those floors were slick. One guy slid literally to the bunk that he spent the next 2 months. It was bad. But everybody wanted to be that drill sergeant. That was like, that was like Top Gun. Everybody wanted to be a pilot. As soon as Ari Emily, and he was actually a real drill sergeant. He was a gunnery sergeant. So he was a real deal. Everybody wanted to be that guy. And I'm like, dude, I didn't join the Marines. I joined the Army. I thought it was supposed to be a little bit easier. No. Let's see. Hello, El Necron. Integrity, what's going on? I just off 2 hours ago. Okay. I haven't I didn't see that. I know he's been out here because, like I said, I got a picture of him just as Doctor Strange, because we went to he dressed up as Doctor Strange when we did the promo for No Way Home. We had like 10 Doctor Stranges and 80 Spider-Man that night. It was hilarious. I'm pretty sure he doesn't live here. Enosh used to live here. Let's see. Integrity, Black Hawk Down was good. Hurt Locker was good too. Yeah, Hurt Locker was tough because, like I said, remember in the war, IEDs was doing a lot of most of the killing, most of the dying that happened in OIF, at least when we were was done by IEDs, and they would use that old Russian garbage and some of our like 105 millimeter rounds or anti-personnel rounds, and they would wire the fuses up to cell phones and Nokias and stuff, and they would be off in the distance. And when the convoys would come out, they would blow them up. So the Hurt Locker resonates with me because we knew guys 52, 55 Bravos, 55 Deltas at the time, 89 Deltas, 88 Deltas. I forgot the MOS name, but it was EOD was the ones, and then every armed force had them, so they were all out there, and anything that looked like it could a dead animal. A lot of times they would hide them under dead animals. You see a dead sheep on the road, and they would have packed explode. I mean, it was crazy, man. The things that those guys had to go through. So that movie, from what I've heard, is an exact depiction, and they had military advisors on that movie. So Hurt Locker was good. Don't know if it's the best film that year, but it was definitely riveting, especially when people got blown up. I didn't care too much for Hurt Locker, honestly. Like I said, I that was the year it beat out Avatar. Yeah, Catherine Bigelow beat that one out. My original MOS was 55 Bravo, which is ammo specialist, and we trained with those guys because we all had to know ammo nomenclature, and we had to watch them. They didn't disarm a real bomb, but they had to learn how to do all this stuff, and we had to be there with them because we handled the rounds. And dude, that shit was intense. And so when I see that, and plus, like I said, OIF, knowing that the majority of people, remember that movie was released in 1989. We were still in that war, and we were dealing with not Al Qaeda, but the other guys, not ISIS, but it was the other group that was literally they knew we're all once the war in the original Iraqi war happened. Nobody went and got the ordnance, and the Kuwaitis that had would have been the ones to clear up the stuff near the border. They just never touched it. There was a custom that we were told that wherever an Arab died, that is hollow ground. We don't touch it. Once they get the body, because you would go through MSR Tampa, which is the road that leads directly into Iraq, and we were stationed in Kuwait, right below that line. And you saw burnt out. You could see just from the border burnt out cars from 20. At that time it was 15 years ago. They didn't touch it. If you went to Kuwait Naval Base, where we stayed for a time, the barracks that we stayed in were available because the Kuwaiti Navy never wanted to stay there again, because Kuwaiti, when Saddam Hussein invaded Iraq, he killed and tortured so many people in those barracks that they would never have their soldiers and sailors staying again. They were okay for us though. That's why we like, hey, why are our digs so good here? And we found out why. Okay, yeah, you're talking about RJ, yeah. Aquaman is better than Wakanda Forever. You know what, Colonizer? It's hard to. Certain aspects of Aquaman are, but then I can, like I said, when we go tomorrow night and go into detail, I can make an argument for the other one. The biggest argument I make for Aquaman is that Arthur Curry, the Aquaman, is in the movie, and he is the engine of the movie that makes the movie work. I can't say that for Wakanda Forever, unfortunately. Colonizer Divas, Birds of Prey is better than Wakanda Forever. Okay, now I need to have you tested. Birds of Prey was horrible, dude. I still got stuff left over from that promotion. Or did I give it away? Probably gave it away. But speaking of when RJ was out in Vegas, this is what we did. I showed you guys this before, but this was when we rented out the theater and you had to come down here and you got a ticket, giant ticket, and we got you in. But dude, I got so much. We should start doing giveaways on the air for some of the stuff I have. Let me see if I can find the Birds of Prey ones because we got inflatable hammers for that. I still think I have one. We had I had the small keychain hammers. They're gone. I think I gave all those away. I can never find it. Yeah, but when I was moving this desk, we had so much stuff from these promotions. We still got Black Adam stuff here, but yeah, I'll bring it out one time and show you some of the things that we had that we used to promote Birds of Prey. They were heavily supporting that movie promotional wise, but it was a bad movie. What about Fury? Fury's a tank one, right? Yeah, I mean, best job I ever had. Yeah, that movie's cool. All right, when he snuck off the base in that movie, I was done. Yes, that I know what you're talking about. Is it called mommy? Guys are losing me. All right, Fury was amazing, and like I said, I served when I was in the National Guard out here with the 221 Cav, and they drove tanks around NTC out of Fort Irwin. We would convoy out there, and tankers are a tight group. Okay, Monkey or not? I know you're not Monkey Jeebus today. Colonizer Jeebus. No, now I know you're trolling me. Integrity, yeah, it was a good film. Metal Jacket was my favorite. After we finished watching the 15 minutes of it, and the drill sergeant obviously bites it. It's really hard for me to watch that movie because then they're all grown up and remember the hookers and all that. I love Full Metal Jacket, but the basic training part is definitely the high. Yeah, it is. We would be watching that movie on deployment, and we would just keep rewinding the first 15 minutes. I'm immune to COVID. You know what? Even those that are vaccinated can still get it. So if you're immune to COVID, I wish you all the luck in the world. Agreed. Let's see. Cisco E. How you doing, Cisco? Carl Urban or Jeffrey G. Morgan as Lobo. Jeffrey D. Morgan. By a hair, not much. You could ask me that tomorrow, and I might have a different answer for you. Colonizer, my air passages are coated with the Davo. Okay. I'm trying not to laugh. That defense, Walmart won't go back to 24 hours. They realize they can make money if the overnight staff actually can actually stock. Their reasoning for it when I asked them, because I complain. I'm that asshole. Shoplifting was, at least the ones in Vegas. Shoplifting was the biggest issue that they had back in here. I think Batista has a shot at, to be Lobo also. Also, I think he has more ideas. Bane. I really don't want to see Bane for a while after Dark Knight Rises. I hope it's another 10 years or so before I see Bane again. I've seen Bane twice now in 2 different Batman universes, and I just didn't like either one of them. But I like Dave Bautista in just about anything he's in, because I think for somebody who got started late in acting, he's in his 50s now, but he just got started in acting with the last 7 years or so, 7 or 8 years. He has improved. Every time I see Dave Bautista on the screen, he improved. He's better than he was the last time I saw him. Blade Runner 2049 is my favorite movie of all time right now. The Blade Runner franchise, the two of them, I combine them for my favorite movie of all time. He is in Blade Runner 2049 for less than 8 minutes or so, maybe 9 minutes. He does such a great job in the short time that he's on the screen that what he does resonates throughout the entire movie. His character changes other characters in the movies as the movie goes forward. He's not on there for very long. And he's, when you see him, Army of the Dead, I mean, you see him, he spent 20 some odd years as a wrestler, but to get into the acting game as late as he did and be able to hone his skills the way he's done it, I am very proud of that guy, because a lot of wrestlers can't do that. A lot of wrestlers are, they just, it's not, they can do the thing on the ring and the promos, but when it comes to acting, a lot of them use their name and they don't really, focus on their skill because their name gets them where they need to be. All right. Roman Reigns for Lobo. I could see it. He's not much of an actor yet, but I can see it. Yeah, that's there you go. All right, he acts on WWE. He's really Roman Reigns. He's Joseph. Yeah, hey, it's held that damn title too long. I'm tired of the bloodline. I'm tired of the bloodline. I can't. I can't wait for WrestleMania. I guess they're going to try to throw Cody against him. It is now November 13th. I can't take 5 more months plus of the bloodline. I just can't do it. You miscommunicated, William. You wanted the double Walter Melt, and they gave you the single. I wanted something that wasn't going to be edible in 2 seconds, but like I said, live and learn. Live and learn. Triple Bacon King Burger. Oh my God. That is a man who understands Fat Burger. Triple Bacon King. A1 sauce. Mushrooms. I get egg on mine. Fried onions. Cheese. Mayonnaise and mustard. And just, like I said, I'm full now because I already ate, but wow, that's what I had the other night. And one time, and this is how good Fat Burger's customer service is if you get the right Fat Burger. I got in there one time, and you know what? I left, and I'm like, hey, man, my burger's feeling a little bit light. I can hold it with one hand. What's going on? He's like, oh, come back. Made me another patty. Put it on there. I had so I was barely breaking the 1.5, which is what I want, and I ended up with a 2-pound burger. I tipped that guy, too. I'm a cheap ass. I tipped that dude. I need to dip that burger in prune juice. No, Forrest. Just take the pain. Understand that if you're going to put 1.5 pounds of happiness in your body, that's going to have to come out somewhere. And when you're having those problems, just remember how good the burger was. That's all you got to do. Yeah, Silver Surfer. Yeah, that's another character too. And in live action, I hope that we get a good live action Silver Surfer too. Yeah, Private Ryan is wow. I watched that movie today, and like I said, they do not hold back on the violence. What around the size of what the Nazis were shooting, the Germans were shooting, what does to a head, really did it in Private Ryan. And one of the things that when I watch anything where somebody gets shot, it's so fake. But when you watch because a bullet that size going through you is going to take a lot of you with it. It's just physics. And when you get hit in certain areas with something that big, you get hit in the leg with that, you're not walking because there's no more leg. And you saw on Private Ryan, you actually saw guys on the shore picking up their arm, walking around in shock because they lost so much blood. So yeah, it's also Platoon. Platoon is good. Platoon won Oliver Stone Academy Awards. Band of Brothers is a great show. They show that every Memorial Day. I think they keep showing that on the History Channel. Fury was great. Fury is probably one of the best tank movies. Spider-Man is cocky because he's smart. I mean, Peter Parker is a genius level. Remember that. I want Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars to reset the MCU and start it over with the Fantastic Four in the 60s. Don't know what they're going to do. There's so much time and story in between now and they finally get that kicked off that it's just hard to grasp my head around it. So I hope for the best. Are we going to go live? Actually, probably not tonight. I'm sorry. I know I promised you Film Goblin, but I'm feeling like crap. And I've had to do all the talking on my own because I don't have Fade here. And I'm moderating on my own because I don't have Stella. I don't think Stella's in there. So I'm fading right now. How long we've been on? We've been on for 2:08. So Film Goblin, listen, tomorrow night when we do the I know I promised you tonight, but tomorrow night when we do the Black Panther Wakanda Forever spoiler and Namor dive, I will have you in. I will send you a link, but I went on too long. How you doing, Ryder? Thank you. Yep. Better the days. The channel. Yeah, yeah. History channel. History. Yeah. Now it's just Pawn Stars. So yeah, let's go and the shorts I'm gonna film are like a 5-10 minute stuff. So say for instance, like Sandman, I'm gonna do a short on Sandman. We can do the comparisons of how kind of like we did on the stream when we a couple of months ago. But I'm going to the purpose of my streams are going to be to connect people that have gained access to these IPs through TV and movies, and to let them know. And there's a whole entire history. So for example, when we I'll do a 5-minute one on Namor, and I will give we'll go over the history that they've seen, and then I'll start lining it up with what the history of the character. And what I'm also going to do is, a lot of these guys who may want to get into this stuff, they're intimidated because back issues are so expensive, and there's just a lot of story you have to get if you want to get that full breadth of what the paper medium character meant. What you could do though is, when we do these streams like that, not only will I have some of the newer stuff, which is not that expensive. I mean, yeah, it's expensive for comic books, compared to when I used to I'm getting losing my voice. When I used to buy comics, when I first started buying comics, they were 60 cents. Now they're averaging between $3.99 and $4.99. So you don't get as much for $40 as you used to. But we have trade paperbacks, we have graphic novels, we have collected editions. And what I'm going to be doing in some cases is doing my best to give them a library, even if they don't buy it from me. I'm still helping the comic book industry, I think, by getting them. If you're in Topeka, Kansas, or in your Hawaii, or you're in New York and you're watching our stream or my stream, then if you want to, you get like a little reading list. So right now for Sandman, I can sell you a relatively cheap trade paperback, or you can go to Barnes and Nobles and pick it up, and now that associates you with the paper content. As financial situations climb and get better, maybe you want to go out and get a Sandman #8, which is the first appearance of Death. Or maybe you want to go out and get an Amazing Spider-Man, which is 238, which is the first appearance of the Hobgoblin, or things like that. But it gets them. A movie is 2 hours, but a comic book collection can be a lifetime, and it's 80 years of history that augments what you just see. So I'm going to do 5-10 minute streams on that. I'm going to do things, and not just comic books, everything. We're not just a comic book store. I'm into everything. I'm going to do rundowns on horror stuff, some stuff that's been out forever. We plan on doing one for Nosferatu, because there's a new Nosferatu film out that's coming out. Just little stuff like that doesn't take too much time in your day, but just brings you along. And then we'll do the occasional live stream, but for the most part, it's going to be like quick hits, 5-10 minutes. Some of them may go a half hour, depending on what we're talking about, and then we will break those up. So I may film, like, we may be talking about Darth Vader. I'm just throwing that out there because it's in my rearview mirror here. And we may do a half hour worth of content about Darth Vader, but we might break it up so that it's easier for you to watch and not have to go back and forth. So that's what I'm working on there. So that's happening soon. Ooh, and now I got heartburn. Ugh. All right. Oh yes, thank you for posting that. Jim Hammond, Human Torch, was an android. Yes, he was. And remember, Colonizer, there was a time where the Human Torch, that version of the Human Torch, was supposed to be what became Vision. I don't know how far back in the comics. They've retconned that now and they've changed everything. But yeah, that was the case then. Yeah, Namor was done excellent. I love Namor. The reason DC movies lately underperformed at the box office, making sure I don't bleed on you guys. The reason DC movies lately underperformed at the box office is because they got rid of the glue that is the Snyderverse. You could that's a very valid point. The glue in general, even Zack Snyder, even no matter who they had picked, they wavered. And once they wavered, and I always say this, no matter what it is you start with, if plan B isn't better than plan A, then you don't ditch plan A. All right. Or if you don't have a plan B at all, you damn sure don't ditch plan A. And that's what the previous regime and regimes, because there was several of them at that point, did. They supplanted what Zack Snyder was doing and replaced it with nothing. If they would have came out after they just said, you know what, we're not going to go in that direction anymore, and they had something that just blew our socks off, I always say this. If they had something that was like, holy shit, that is, whoa, take my money, there would have been some hardcore guys like us that have been like, that's not what I. But the fact that they replaced Plan A and then they didn't have anything. We got Birds of Prey, we got the Suicide Squad, we got all these things, and what hurt even those movies was the fact that you just left the Trinity, the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, in the closet, and tried to move on to these B characters when the B characters only exist because the majority of them existed in those Alpha Characters comics. At one point, we went through the shelf one time. 63% of all DC comics either appeared in one of the Trinity's titles or they were a Justice League villain or guest appearance. 25 to 30% of all DC superheroes came through that way. So when you're trying to put a Shazam or a Black Adam out there, you have to understand that it's like most planets, like us, we would die without the sun. The Superman, Batman, those characters are the sun that allows the smaller little planetoids to live. They didn't have a plan. So if they would have had a plan, it would have been all right, but they didn't. Regardless to how you feel about the Snyderverse or Zack Snyder's films like that, the fact that there was no plan and we went, we're at a point before James Gunn and Safran took over where we were putting all the weight of the world on Black Adam, a character no one knows. We've had movies like about Shazam, a character, like I said, I hosted a packed theater with people we gave away tickets to, wearing this shirt, handing out shirts like this. And I always tell the story. You know what people walked up to me and said about my shirt? That's a cool Flash shirt. At the movie that we had just gave them tickets and promoted the movie for, promoted the hell out of that movie. They didn't know who the character was, had no idea who the character was. Wouldn't even have been there had I not got them in. We were making movies like that. So when it's time to make these other movies, they're going to underperform because we've made a chain of movies with characters nobody knows who they are. Right? They just don't know. And the only reason why some of these movies did well because Harley Quinn was such a phenomenal, iconic character that a lot of people knew. But King Shark, some of these other things that they don't know who they are, and she's not enough. Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie's not enough to carry some of these movies. So now we have David Zaslav. Now we have James Gunn. Now we have Peter Safran. And the mandate from David Zaslav seems to be the focus on the big guns. So now when we release these Bs and these Cs characters, Blue Beetles and, Maxwell Lords and all these other ones that nobody knows who the hell they are, they have a chance to succeed because they are existing in the ocean that the Trinity is. I always say that the talking raccoon and the talking tree make a lot of money, not because the Guardians of the Galaxy was some great thing that fell out of the sky, because if you release Guardians of the Galaxy without the supporting Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that lead up to them and the story that they're involved with, that's Howard the Duck money losing. I will take that to the grave, that if that movie had been released without any other MCU movie, no Iron Man, no Thor, none of that, no Infinity Saga, you try to release Guardians of the Galaxy on its own, somebody's getting fired. Somebody ain't got a job because that movie is going to bomb because there's no reason for anybody to see it. And that's what happened with DC. So, yeah, they need the glue, the glue seems to be here. We see them piecing together movies that they inherited with reshoots and, putting in end credit scenes. They're doing what they can. We won't see the full effect of these two, unfortunately, the full effect until they start working on movies that they have from beginning to end. Right now, they don't have any of those. They haven't announced any of those. But once they start announcing the movies that they will have control of from concept, script, all the way up until release, I think that's where you're going to start seeing the movies do better. I still think we have quite a while of up and down performances. I think Shazam is probably going to do just what the last Shazam did. So no one should expect a blockbuster from that. The Flash looks like, from what I hear, is a great movie, but that's a character that's going to have iconic characters in it. So that one might do a little better. But I think we're not going to have those big blockbusters and potential $billion, fantasy type movies until they get their hands on a movie that they didn't inherit. So I agree with you. And let's just hope that's in the past, Yeah, success is inevitable. Just got to wake up with a positive attitude. Yep. I love you too, Mr. Wayne. I love your logo too, by the way. William Touch of Common Sense. Yeah, I just, what I try to do is, I'm not a rocket scientist, but we've been, like I said, I've been collecting since I was 8. I'm 48 now. We've been promoting movies for one studio or another since 2013. As you can see behind me, this Aquaman is part of a full-on Justice League thing that we did when we promoted Justice League. This shirt came from the Shazam promo. We just did Black Panther. The promotion that we led off the show with, which is the Top Gun. We actually promoted that movie while it was in theaters, and that promotion for the DVD was set up then. We did Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. We did the Batman. We've done all these movies, and what ends up happening is you start to get the rhythm of what these studios are looking for, what they want. Sometimes you might be on a call, or you might be on a part of an email that might let you in to understand what the studio's expectations are. And we get the chance to interact with the people, because part of our job when we do these is we're supposed to get opinions. A lot of times I will keep in touch with the people that we provide seats to, because we want to know in depth, and we want to be able to refer to them about what they liked and what they want to see going forward. And then a lot of those people we get back. I make it a point to get some of those people back for the next movie, so that we can report it back to Warner Brothers or Lionsgate or some of those movies. And that there's like a bunch of us across the nation that do that that have those intermediates. But while we're doing that, I get a cross hash of the hardcore 3%er, that's me, and the comic book geeks that come in here that are hardcore, and what is the vast majority of the population that will go see these movies. And a lot of that is going to factor into the decision making for a lot of these guys. Like, say, for instance, the Ezra Miller situation. In our small little screens on YouTube, we're like, oh, this guy's a pain in the ass. He's awful. He'll never work again. Pundits will say that kind of stuff. But the vast majority of the public doesn't know about what's going on with Ezra Miller. It doesn't care what's going about with Ezra Miller. It doesn't have a connection to Ezra Miller, to where what he does, aside from finding dead bodies in the trunk or something like that, or if he goes full Rich Ramirez, they don't have a connection to that to the point where that would hurt the movie for them. They're still going to go. I always say Deshaun Watson has 21 cases filed against him, and he got one of the richest quarterback contracts. So it's up. We can't dictate what the fan wants to pay for and what he wants to root for the sport. And that's what I've learned. But through that, and then just fans, people that walk through, what I try to do with this show, and I've always said this, especially when things get kind of crazy from time to time on YouTube and Twitters and all that, I want to have the same conversation with you guys as I would the person that walked through that door. I'm not going to say anything on any of these streams that I would not say to a person that I welcomed into my store. All right. And I keep that standard, and I hope, I hope it's working, to be honest with you. I don't have 1,000 or 1 million followers. My content isn't flashy. It's just, it's a casual conversation. That's what I always call it. But like I said last night, I'd rather build a stable house out of stable material than one out of flash and bang that can fall apart at any moment. So I'll take my time. So thank you for the comments, guys. Let's see. I had my kids watch Through the Hard Way, Shaft. Wow, dude. That's some good stuff, man. Through the hard way, especially. Cleopatra Jones, dude. Oh yeah, that's a Pam Grier. Oh, Pam Grier. Man, she looks so hot all the way up to the point where she just hit her 70s, and but she stayed hot for a very long time. Um, it's hard. It's hard. Who knows, man? Who knows? All right, make common sense comment again. Yeah, I'll put that on the red hat from you. All right, models took look way better. Fun fact: Escape from New York intro where Snake flies in on a plane. The city models were taken from Blade Runner. I know that. I actually saw that somewhere else, but that's a good point. So, all right, guys, I am running out of steam, and my nose is starting to hurt. And last night, when it started to hurt, it started to bleed. So yeah, last night was great. Nosebleeds, allergies. I almost starved to death. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. And we've gone for 2.5 hours, which is 22 minutes, probably more than I should have. I will, if you guys have any questions that I didn't get to, go ahead and leave them in the comment section. And I do my best to answer the comments for you guys. Wherever you guys leave them, I try to answer them and provide some inspiration. Sometimes I just run out of gas on these streams, and it's been a long day. Plus, we'll be streaming tomorrow for quite a while, going through the Black Panther deep dive on that one. So, and I usually don't do this by myself this long. I usually have Fade or somebody eat up oxygen. I didn't know he wasn't going to be here tonight, or I probably would have just brought in guests from the beginning. So, Film Goblin, tomorrow, one of the first things I'll do is I'll bring you in. And for some of you guys, especially for some of you guys who have seen the movie already, I will go ahead and make room for you as well, because I want to hear you. And I want to do more of the adding you guys on to the stream. I know some streamers don't do it because the reason why is I found that words on the screen can be taken out of context and the tone can be taken out of context. So I think it's best sometimes, to bring people on the screen. I know that's a risk because you might get a wild card in there that might do something, to sync the network or something like that. But it's a chance I'll take. But I didn't want to do that without having another co-host with me because it's really hard to maneuver. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and head home. And, it's burning like right here. Ugh. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, head home, go watch Chappelle on SNL. See what he drops. And we will see you tomorrow night. I'm guessing around between 10 and 11. It's going to be late because I got stuff going on all throughout the day. But we're going to have something regularly done on Sunday nights. It's just be later. Sometimes it'll be film breakdowns like this. Sometimes we'll always have some kind of content on. I'm going to try, as long as I can physically hold up, to stream at least 4 of the 7 nights. As long as I can keep it short and I can hold up, I'll do it. If I start to fade and have health issues and like sneezing all the time and shit like that, then I'll peel back. But I think it's an important time for everybody who can add a voice of reason, consistent content, and an escape from everything else to do so. Whoever you are, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel because you want to talk about pure content, I think you should do it. You can't hurt things. You can only make them better. So that's why I'm doing it. And that's why it's not work to me. I'll do it until I can lose my voice. So, like I said, share, join my channel. The future looks bright for that. And like I said, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for adding content, adding questions, and making the stream better. And I will see you guys tomorrow night.